Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6 as the Mayan Empire. And things are looking really damn good for us, with the exception of the fact that we just lost the Colosseum. I had to take a little bit of a break after that. I hope that that's somewhat relatable, man, because holy crap was that upsetting. We have met the first civ in the game that actually has more science per turn than me, and that is Gilgamesh. He's about 1 tech ahead and about 10 science per turn ahead. He also has slightly more culture than me. But considering we're on 4 cities and the AI gets an 80% yield bonus on almost all of their yields, I think we're doing pretty well. Nice, there's our theatre square, which is excellent. That's going to be a +3 area score boost as well as +5 culture per turn. That's a really great boost. We could go for amphitheatre. It wouldn't be a terrible idea to build an aqueduct to boost military engineering. It would also give the city a hell of a lot of housing. I think the housing would be really nice, so let's go ahead and get started on that aqueduct. I am tempted to quickly sneak out an extra settler. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 settlers required. So if I just got those out a little bit quicker, I think my situation would improve slightly. We can begin chopping in the capital. So let's go ahead and chop to finish the audience chamber, boosh, which will give us the benefits of the audience chamber immediately, which is +2 amenities and +4 housing in cities with governors, -2 loyalty in cities without. But those housing and amenities are going to help us quite a lot, especially in places like my capital, which did have 6 housing and now has 10. And so in conjunction with a few other things, we might be able to hit some really big housing numbers this game. The amenities are really welcome too, especially in lieu of losing the Colosseum, which is genuinely devastating. We could build a Temple of Artemis here. Let's have a little bit of a think about that. Each camp, pasture, and plantation improvement within 4 tiles of the wonder provides +1 amenity. So let's get a range finder of 4 range and start experimenting. So if we were to build it here, it would hit 1, 2... It would hit 2 camps. It would be worth 2 amenities plus its normal benefits. Not great, to be honest. But even so, that's all right. If we put it here, it would still hit 2, but it's less in the way. I think we go ahead and just plunk it down on the snow hill. That'll be 4 food and 3 housing. And if we can get the Temple of Artemis, that would be really, really cool. In terms of governor titles, the value of a governor sitting inside a city is actually quite high now. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Reyna and put her into Palenque. That's 2 amenities and 4 housing potentially there, which is a lot and a lot of value. There's machinery. We want to get 2 crossbows to boost field cannon tech, I believe it is. It's over here somewhere. Yeah, metal casting is the tech. That'll be part of the plan. All right, let's get a builder chop in here. That should basically finish the Temple of Artemis, which is a nice source of aero score, plus this city's growth potential is now at 15. It's kind of nutty. I definitely want to get the Diplo Quarter as a priority. The best part of the Diplo Quarter is getting the +1 envoy for being built next to the city center. Enemy spies operate at a lower level, and you get +1 diplomatic favor for every delegation or embassy. Speaking of delegations and embassies, we should start looking to send those. I did manage to get a friendship with Gilgamesh, because he's a really easy person to get friendships with. I'll do mutual open borders with a little bit of a cash exchange, and I'll see if there's any things he wants to buy. Maybe he'll want to buy some iron. He will. Lautaro will buy some iron too. Open borders, we could sell off the open borders. Economy is looking great. We're getting 45 gold from deals right now, which is the majority of our gold income. I definitely want to settle next to the truffles, because that gets me +1 amenity in this city, which is quite nice. We're on the verge of finishing feudalism, so I'm going to delay. Well, these cities aren't within the 6 tiles of my capital, right? So they don't get +1 builder. I'm pretty sure they don't get the better builder if they settled here. Yeah, they have to be within 6 tiles of my capital, unfortunately. But even so, that's fine. Let's get started with the immediate granary into monument. The granary allows us to grow. The monument expands the borders of the city. That's why they're the 2 default choices. We'll also be going for a fairly early harbor here. This city has a few fishing tiles in range, just 2 really, but still it's a good harbor city. City will need a builder. We'll be able to produce builders soon at a high efficiency because we are about to finish feudalism. Let's talk to Lautaro. Let's see if we can get a friendship and mutualize the open borders here. Cost me 1 gold. Then we can explore inside his territory. All right, beautiful. Another settler has been finished in Copan. I do need 3 more. I'm going to send this one to the north with an escort all the way up to there. And then you'll head this way. So I'll get my last settler in the city of Copan. Boom, 6 turns. Probably take about 7 once the settler finishes. It'll increase the cost of settlers. Military tactics is finished, so we have access to pikemen now. We're about to finish feudalism, which feels good. Let's shop here to finish the diplomatic quarter. I would like to get the consulate because it's worth quite a lot of gold, science, and culture. It's also worth influence points per turn, which will give me more control over city-states, which will help me scale my empire up. So I like this. Let's grab it. I'm going to start continuing to fight for Mitla. Yeah, continue to fight for control of Mitla, I think. +1 era score for discovering a civic from a new era. We're still producing settlers, we're not producing wonders, so I'll swap that card around and I'll plug in serfdom, one of the most important cards. We'll confirm that. Now we need to start thinking about our tier 2 government as well as unlocking some special bonuses. I wouldn't mind getting an extra envoy from naval tradition, so I'll go ahead and unlock that. It would be nice to also unlock alliances. Ooh, I really like retainers, so I'll go for retainers first. And it would be a good idea to start producing like a really cheap unit to garrison my city. So I think heavy cavalry is the unit. I've got a garrison here, a garrison going out that way. You're a garrison with this settler. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 heavy chariots to garrison all my cities. 1, 2, 3, 4 heavy chariots. I definitely don't want to unlock feudalism. Yeah, I don't want to unlock stirrups too early. So we're working on things. Retainers is a great policy card. +1 amenity might not seem like a big deal, but over the course of a game, I think it makes a big difference. I'm really glad I spawned on an island on my own. I really hate spawning next to the AI when I get a weak start like this. I'm okay with a relatively weak start if I spawn isolated, because at least I can deal with like the worst parts of the start with a little bit of like careful gameplay and, you know, navigating my way through things carefully. We've got a ton of gold in the bank, which should set us up for some important decisions here. I think it would be good to buy a builder in this city. Kalkmul could really use one. There's a couple of tiles up here that are worth improving. Koba could really use another builder. Magnus is still down there providing benefits. The nice thing about building chariots too is it will increase my military score, which will make the AI respect me slightly more. Let's go ahead and link you guys together. We'll head you over this way. So we finished all the settlers in here. Is it time to build our infrastructure? I think it would be good to grab the trade route. Thinking about this city, I'm going to take off production focus because we have a ton of housing, and so in order to make use of that housing we need to grow. I would love to get these farms online, but they're quite expensive and I don't want to pay for them. I think +4 science from a library is a great grab. I don't need an aqueduct in here. I think we're pretty happy with the way that Copan is set up right now. I think focusing on growth would be the move, so +1 food and +1 production is actually pretty good from the watermill, especially because that will scale off this wheat later. Education wise, now is an okay time to go for stirrups because we're about to finish our heavy chariot production. I think we will start teching printing and maybe look to build some libraries and universities. So let's get the library in here. We need to get the aqueduct after these chariots. The aqueduct so that we can boost military engineering. We also need to get universities, so I'll probably go university after that, trying to find time to make it all work. So there's civil service. We can finally get alliances. Let's talk to Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is a great person to get a military alliance with. Let's also get a friendship with Persia. Now, Persia is my closest neighbor, so I think it might be good for me to get either an economic or a research alliance with him. I think I'll go with economic here to make our trade routes between us much more powerful. Lautaro, on the other hand, I think we'll go for a cultural alliance. In case he decides to trade with me. Military alliance has no benefit to the trade routes. An economic alliance has a benefit of gold to the trade routes, and a cultural alliance has a benefit of culture to the trade routes. So we will open up some high gold potential trade routes with him. Right, next up is we should start thinking about our tier 2 government. We could go for monarchy. We're not going for a culture victory, so I don't think that particularly suits us. We would like medieval fairs for the +1 governor title, and we would like guilds for the +1 governor title. We're done producing settlers, so I can take this out and I can plug in retainers. That's +3 amenities right now. That will eventually be more, and I think it would be nice to start trading with Persia. That's 10 gold per turn. That's a huge amount of GPT. Let's make sure we're buying all of our luxury resources. They're relatively cheap and they push us up into the ecstatic range for all of our cities. We have met Byzantium. Nice to meet you. I'll immediately send him a delegation and see if he'll do a one-turn friendship. They usually don't want to do that, but we can do mutual open borders, and he might have luxuries that I want to buy. He does. Well, I'll buy those. I have luxuries that I want to sell, and I will sell them for gold per turn to the highest bidder. We could go for a mausoleum this game. We have 2 potential chops here for a mausoleum. It would require me to move Magnus to this city. But if I think about a mausoleum in Palenque, it's a pretty good mausoleum. It's a pretty damn good mausoleum. I am going to go for the industrial zone in here, so I'll place that down. Yeah, I like the idea of purchasing a lighthouse in here and then purchasing a trader and sending that trader to Koba to get the production and food to help push this city as we go for the mausoleum. We're not going to go for the mausoleum immediately. What we're going to do is we're going to grab Magnus, reassign Magnus to Palenque, and then reassign Reina to Koba. I think that's fine. So in 5 turns, I'll probably spend a bit of time just looking to see if there's any tiles nearby that I can improve, like this tile, maybe we can swap in, maybe we can get a couple of chops in. But I definitely want to open up with chopping this tile. We also need to build a lumber mill somewhere, so that needs to happen. Need to be careful not to chop everything out. We did get the consulate in Koba, getting us 4 gold, 2 science, 2 culture. We can start to talk about what else we should do in the city. I mean, it's pretty obvious we should definitely go for the observatory. It's a +2 right there. But I think we go for the monument first, because that's +2 culture per turn. And culture is currently our weakest yield, so we need to buff that up. And we're now fighting pretty hard on the culture front. So I'd say we're doing pretty well considering we're on 4 cities. Well, technically 5 now, although these cities are really not productive. They will be in time. There's the mercenaries boost. We've produced all of the military that we need to provide the garrison boost. So we've got 5 amenities coming from garrisons, and that will go up as we settle these cities. Now, our average amenities will start to go down, and part of me wishes I could have settled near these luxuries, but I think it was better to settle coastally so that I could open with a +4 harbor in this city. I will be going granary into monument. This city will need a builder, but it'll just have to languish for now. We are going to continue to fight for Mitla's suzerainty. We're also going to go ahead and settle this city to claim this land for my empire. Coastal cities should always open with a harbour, in my opinion. It's the quote-unquote correct play. The city has a garrison. Even though I would like to be producing commercial hub-based stuff, it's the quote-unquote correct play. Do I move this city down 1 tile? No, I think it's fine where it is. Yeah, I think it's fine where it is. Let's put a mine here to help Palanque. I'm going to trade with Koba for 3 food, 3 production. And we'll see if we can finish that industrial zone sooner rather than later. We finished the library in Kopan. Let's start the university. We've got the aqueduct coming in the capital. Let's finish stirrups now. That +1 food from pastures might be useful long term. It won't be useful for now, but eventually it will be. Yeah, otherwise things are looking really great for us. Great lighthouse was built. We don't really care about that. Any great people coming? Ooh, could I get him? No. Very unlikely that I get this guy. Unlucky. Would have loved to have picked up Ibn Khaldun. He's one of the few great scientists I've never really had a chance to grab. It's alright, we still have Isaac Newton on the cards. Let's go for the observatory. We want those great scientist points more than anything now. It's all about those great scientist points. And I would like to buy another builder, but can't quite afford it yet. Moderate flood, that's fine. It damaged my district, which sucks. You're in position to chop. So we're going to cancel the production queue in Palanque and do what I call a pre-chop. Now that the production queue is empty, when I chop, the chopped production, this 115 production goes into a float. So the mausoleum will take 17 turns. If I chop now, boom, the mausoleum will take 13 turns. And then I can place the mausoleum on the tile I just chopped. It will take 14 turns because like slightly adjusts based on the tiles that are available. But it does mean that if I swap here, I should be able to place a mine and then chop, and we should have pretty close to a mausoleum pretty quick. All right, let's settle our final city. We may settle a city in the center here just to claim this land, just for the sake of having complete control of the island. It's a really crappy desert city, so it's unlikely. Let's immediately get started with a +4 harbor. It's the correct move. Granary monument. Fortify the unit to provide the +1 amenity. We'll go to the next turn. You are allowed to establish an embassy. That should get me +1. Aethelfred has been retired. Kotoku Inn has been built. A volcano was dormant. We boosted military engineering thanks to building the aqueduct, which means now we can tech it. And so our main goal right now is to get through the tech tree efficiently. And the way that we get through the tech tree efficiently is by building particular things. We're going to need a encampment at some point. I don't know where or when I'm going to build that, but it does need to happen. We've got universities on the way. They'll both finish in 8 turns, which will be the boost for printing. Let's see. Guild's Civic is next. So I guess the thing that makes sense to research after this is gunpowder, because I have no plans to boost it. Right, there's stirrups, medieval fairs. Let's go ahead and purchase ourselves another builder in Kopan. We're going to grab ourselves Moksha, and I'm going to put him in charge of the city of Kalkmul to give it amenities and housing. Delegation from Gilgamesh. Thank you, Gilgamesh. I appreciate you. I'll put a mine on this snow hill to give this city a real productive tile, and then I'll chop this lumber mill. This feels bad to chop this, but it does mean I get the mausoleum really soon, which will boost up a lot of my yields, especially when it comes to science, culture, and faith. It's potentially at least 6 of each in the city of Palanque. It's like really good. Okay, military engineering is complete. We have access to niter. We did find a niter tile, which is great. There's actually a really interesting industrial zone here. That's a +3. Could be a potential. Don't know if we want to build that there though. Okay, the forest is owned by Palanque, so if we chop here, that'll be a 2-turn mausoleum. Then we can go ahead and get those fishing tiles online. We are going to be hitting a dark age here, potentially. Most of my cities have perfectly fine loyalty, so I'm not scared about that. Newly built districts, built by this player, act as culture bombs. I would like that. I'll vote for myself twice. That should secure it. And then I'll vote up melee units, because melee units, they win fairly often. Yep, there you go. Won both. So I think we're now on 3 diplomatic victory points. We do have that as a backup plan. Honestly, if you want to go for a Diplo win, you kind of want to go for a religion. We are about to finish a whole bunch of nice infrastructure here. We can also buy ourselves yet another builder to start sending off to some of these other cities. Now, they take a while to get there, but the efficiency when they get there, I think, is worth it. A resident embassy is more than welcome. I think I can get a friendship with Byzantium as well. Mausoleum is finished, giving us +1 science, +1 faith, +1 culture on all coastal tiles for the city, and great engineers have an additional charge. So any great engineers we can get will be very useful this game, especially if we're going for a science victory. That's why I really like getting Mausoleum. Not only does it make one of your coastal cities like have really interesting yields, but it also makes it so that your great engineers have a lot of power for a science victory. The era score is nice too from building wonders. Yeah, now these fishing tiles are going to be even better. We definitely want to go for shipyards in Palanque pretty soon, but I'll go for the industrial zone and then the aqueduct. That industrial zone will start getting me into the competitive running for great engineers. I think, yeah, we could potentially get a Leonardo this game, and that's worth six culture per industrial zone, which basically makes them on par with a theater square. We built the observatory down in Koba. I think we want these great scientist points more than anything, so we just have to build our libraries and universities ASAP now. I'm going to hold off with my build. Would I rather have a cattle tile? Let's have a look at the potential of a pasture. A pasture is potentially +1 food, +1 production, and then another +1 food, +1 production in the late game. Also half a point of housing. In conjunction with this, yeah, I think that's fine. We'll go for the cattle tile. And then we will move Magnus from this city to Calcmul. There's only a couple of chops up here, and then I'll just reassign Moksha down to Koba. Then I'll reassign Reina to Palanque, just doing a governor shuffle right now. Reina fits better into Palanque because she has the Harbour Master promotion, which doubles the adjacency of harbours. Beautiful. Both of our universities will be finishing this turn. We'll get the pasture online, 4 food, 1 production. That's a fierce tile. Improve the fishing tiles. The fishing boats, they don't get many improvements until quite late into the game. They get +1 food at plastics, +2 gold at carto, and +1 production at cartography. So cartography is pretty far away. Sorry, is it colonialism? Yeah, colonialism gives you +1 production. Cartography we're pretty near, so we could get quite a bit of gold out of that, but we need to get we need to like build 2 harbors, we need to boost carto. We're trying to get through this tech tree fairly efficiently. I would say I'm top science now, right? Let's have a look. Wow, I'm still second. Okay, we're barely trailing the leader. So who's coming up next? Okay, Isaac Newton is a vibe, and it's a vibe I need to secure. So campus research grants. If I finish 2, I'm hoping that we can secure him. We did just finish 2 universities. It would be so huge if we could get him. That's +2 science per city, and it also denies that bonus to someone else. Really, 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 really want that. My regret is I have nothing to chop out these projects with. I mean, it's kind of a roll of the dice whether or not someone pays the money to recruit him early. But if we could secure him, it would be huge for our game plan. I'm going to swap the crabs to Palanque because Palanque is just a better coastal city than my capital. The crabs will suit that city quite well, especially because the +1 housing and the +1 food from the lighthouse. All right, we got guilds. There is a boost for guilds. That's banking. We can research banking. We're also probably not going to benefit from astronomy, so we can boost that. We can boost metal casting, so I would be willing to do that. We finished printing. I'm going to grab that. So a lot of boosts going on. We could build potentially 2 trebuchets. Should have built catapults maybe. And if we build those trebuchets, we could consider going to war with Samarkand and Kagwana and sort of finally deciding to end them, which is a plan I'm fairly well on board with. My capital definitely needs some mines though, so I'm going to send a builder over there to improve the capital. We will grab Victor, and I will put him in El Mirador for the housing and amenities because I have the government building that allows me to do that. And now we're going to quickly grab Naval Tradition for the Envoy. We'll beeline Mercenaries for the Envoy, and then that naturally leads towards exploration so we can get our tier 2 government and get exploration. It's going to be a fantastic addition to our empire. Let's keep fighting for Mitla. We really want to be suzerain of Mitla. Although, to be fair, we could probably just sit as 6 envoys now that we have them with Mitla and just leave that there. That's basically all we really need from. There's printing, the +1 diplomatic visibility and access to that. Wow. Is there potentially land over here that we could settle? No, I think I'm going to try to keep my empire small this game. My empire is already far bigger than I would have liked to have built it. Ooh, a major flood. That sucks. 2 turns until the potential Newton move. Let's sell off our spares. Any iron buyers? Okay. Any Diplo buyers? We're kind of way out from the thing. I'll take your GPT. Magnus is established, so we're going to harvest this. That'll almost finish the harbor, which should in turn boost Cardo. We can start researching that. I'm going to save my gold for crossbow boosts, but I'll probably wait until I have mercenaries, because mercenaries has the card for 50% discount on all gold unit upgrades. How long until the next era? 3 turns. Can I get an era score in 3 turns? Yes, I can. Boom. Man at arms. Easy. Done. Normal age secured. Naval tradition gets us an extra envoy. I could start working on Hong Kong, I guess. Let's get that university. Please, Isaac Newton, just stay alive for 1 more turn. That's all I need from him. No! They took him. Fuck. Unavailable. He was stolen by someone I haven't met. Okay, probably whoever's top science, which is going to be more annoying now because they're going to be even better at being top science. Oh well, it's okay. We made the attempt. So Colosseum and a great scientist denied this game, which sucks. If I had started, maybe if I had ran the project sooner, it would have been, I maybe would have got him. Could build an Angkor Wat here. +1 population in all current cities, +1 housing in all cities. I think I have enough housing and population. Man, I'm going to really miss that Colosseum. In my capital city, it would be nice to get the trade route. So I'll place the commercial hub. I wouldn't mind the amphitheater. So I'm going to get that because this is my culture and science city. So I'm going to prioritize getting my culture up a bit here. That's fine. And then I can buy a couple of great works off people. Repair the university in Copan. Let's go ahead and buy another builder. I can't quite afford it. Need a little bit more cash. Going to try to avoid chopping anything up in El Mirador until I get Magnus over there. And he'll be up here once I do 2 more chops in Calakmul. Oh, I'm devastated at the loss of him. I'm probably going to skip this great scientist. Let's have a look. Oh, wow. Someone else sniped him. Whatever. I'm fine with this. We'll save for Albert. Dedication. I think we just go for monumentality for that little bit of passive era score. I don't have any city-states I want to fight over, really. I need to explore more. I need caravels, really. So if I'm going to do caravels, I should buy a couple galleys first and then upgrade them. There's Carto boosted. So once we finish cartography, our food from fishing boats will go, or our gold from fishing boats will go up quite a bit. So that'll be a nice boost to our income. We do have 8 ecstatic cities, which I am ecstatic about. We got the aqueduct, we got the industrial zone. Let's get our observatory up first, because it's worth so many good, great scientist points. We've got our harbor up here. I think we'll just chop out that harbor. Boosh. And then I'll chop there. Definitely need more builders. I've got a galley over here. I have a galley over here. I'd like a galley over here. And then maybe a galley in Calakmul next turn. Copan has a fully built observatory. It has the commercial hub placed. It's not a great spot for an encampment. Let's squeeze out a couple of extra builders here to help continue to improve my empire, because this city doesn't have one and this city doesn't have one. I don't have a good lumber mill location, sadly, so I might just crack a lumber mill here just to get the mass production boost, because we need a tech to research next. So lumber mill it is. Boom. There's mass production researched. We can research mass production. We're never getting the boost for astronomy. We're never getting the boost for square rigging. Yeah, that leaves us with a bit of time to do other things. So in my capital, I could go for the commercial hub, or I could build a couple of trebuchets and potentially kill these city-states, although they now have musketmen. So maybe with some bombards we could make that work. But I'm going to build the 2 trebuchets because it boosts siege tactics. Let's go ahead and buy the 4th galley. We'll chop here to finish the lighthouse. We'll quickly crack out a trader. Ooh, a little bit of a fire here. Right. Huge moves here. Caravel completed. That's going to be excellent. We'll wait until we have exploration before we actually start upgrading those. But it is on the cards. Let's put a farm on this tile. It makes it workable. Also gives the city +1 housing. My cities have amazing housing right now, which is fantastic for growing fairly tall. Also, the fact that I have maximized amenities in my cities is really good. It means I'm not really suffering that penalty. Although I'm getting a -15% from modifiers here in the city. And another -15. Yeah, -15% is just like such a massive penalty. So I basically have to maintain happiness or I'm like in bad shape. Which means like, Dude, tornadoes are some of the worst spawnable events because they could just do so much damage to your empire depending on where they spawn. Like if this thing goes east, like that's fine. If it goes south, devastating. Palanque has finished its observatory, which will give us +1 great scientist point. We'll grab ourselves a library for the +4 science and the +1 great scientist point as well, because we want to be competitive for these great scientists. And right now we're not competitive. I mean, we're middle of the pack. I wish there was a way to like see a list of who has the most great scientist points, but I would put us in the middle of the pack right now. We kind of need to be towards the top of the pack to really be competitive. I could chop to finish that trebuchet faster and then improve that tile. Magnus can be moved over to the city of Mirador, and then Victor can be moved to the city of Calcamol. And so in 5 turns we can start doing a bit of chopping and improving in here. The tornado went swoop and hit a lot of the infrastructure I really didn't want it to. So now I have to come back through and like rebuild it all, which I hate. I have to rebuild that whole ass observatory. +1 error score from mass production, excellent, as well as exploration. I think we got it from exploration actually. +2 error score for heading into a new government type. We'll go ahead and place retainers up there. Would love to have veterancy plugged in to build my harbours faster. Definitely want serfdom, definitely want urban planning. Would love to have natural philosophy for that 9 science, but that's honestly not enough science for me to like make it 100% a must pick. I think I would prefer merchant confederation. I definitely need to have republican legacy. So that's +5 amenities. And so I think the amenities does more than the veterancy. So +5 amenities here, +8 amenities here. This should be +8 eventually. Yeah, serfdom, urban planning. Urban planning is potentially one that could go soon, but I think 8 production is huge, especially for my low production cities to get that little bit of help right now. I think we are good with this setup. It's very default PotatoMcWhiskey government, like, you know, the sort of stuff you've seen before. We're going to go for diplomatic service, partially because we'll have the ability to construct spies, partially because we'll have access to the Chancery, which is our tier 3 technical building for the diplomatic quarter. That'll get us 3 influence per turn, which is a significant boost to our influence. We're at 9 right now, so this will bring us up to 12. That's a 33% boost. And it would mean we benefit more from influencing city-state. We will also be able to get Machiavellianism and potentially do some spy stuff. I would really like to get my intelligence agency in this city, but I need to think about what my next district is. I have the government plaza, the Diplo quarter, the observatory. Maybe I should build an industrial zone. Encampment wouldn't be bad either. It'd be very useful to have an encampment city at some point in this game. So I'm going to go ahead and place that. We'll go for the university. We'll go for the intelligence agency immediately after that. The goal of the encampment is to be able to build military engineers to be able to boost along certain infrastructure in the late game. For example, if we need to build flood barriers and things like that in some of these cities, I think it would help if we had a military engineer city. There's also some era score locked up in having an encampment. There's very few improvable tiles in the capital. There are some improvable tiles down here in the south, so why don't you go ahead and get that mine for me? Do you know what I forgot to plug in? Is there a cheaper civic? I forgot to plug in the upgrade units card, and I need to do a few upgrade units, so just hold off. It's the difference between paying 360 gold for 1 caravel or 360 for 2 upgrades. So it's a big deal. It doubles your efficiency. Library is completed in Palanque. I think the shipyard might be more important. That +1 production on all unimproved tiles could be really helpful. I think so. The scaling benefits from that is just too much. We finished the trader in here. We are looking for gold primarily, so let's trade with Hagmatana. That's 16 gold per turn. That's a huge gold trade route. Would love to get the shipyard in here. Not a great city for it. Kind of need to build some tile improvements, mainly around production. But let's swap this tile, place the observatory, and then start the shipyard. Now, the observatory is half price. We should at least build that for the 1 great scientist point per turn that it provides. We'll also get started on the harbour over here. The city really needs a builder. We really need a builder over here. A builder has finally arrived up here, but Magnus isn't ready for it. Somebody's finally converting me to a religion, so I'm being converted to Shinto. Let's take a look at what benefits are there. Ooh, purchase campus and theatre square buildings with faith. I could actually make some use out of that. I'm pretty sure I get that one. Gridwaras, we don't care. Lay ministry helps a little bit with my capital. Otherwise we don't, none of this really super hardcore benefits us. We get to keep our Pantheon at least. The Reeds and Marshes Pantheon. I like in Civ 6 compared to Civ 5, you get to keep your Pantheons. Big fan of that change. Colossus has been built by another player. We've managed to do diplomatic service. Now we really want diplomatic service in Koba. We could just buy the Chancery, and that's 6 gold, 3 science, and 3 influence points per turn immediately. I think that's a worthwhile expenditure of gold, unless I really need that gold right now for Professional Army. So unfortunately, we are going to use that for Professional Army. 1 caravel, 2 caravels, 3 caravels, and 4 caravels. And you might be asking yourself, Potato, why are you upgrading so many caravels? And the simple answer is, exploring the world is actually a really important way to increase the amount of science that you produce and increase your yields in general. On a standard map size, I think there's 9 city-states, and we have found 6. So there's 3 potential city-states out there, and they could be scientific city-states, which would give me 3 science per city in the current stage of the game, up to 6 science per city in the late game. So these caravels are worth era score, they're worth knowledge, they're just extremely valuable. Now, we also need to buy some luxuries to bring back up our amenities, because I noticed our amenities dipped. So we're going to buy all of our luxuries, and we're going to do what I call a diplomatic turn. A diplomatic turn is where you go through and you talk to every single civ and you get all the best possible deals you can. So we're doing resident embassies, we're doing friendships, we're improving our relationship. She won't take a friendship, she won't take this, but she will take open borders. The reason you want to do open borders with the AI is because an open borders deal with the AI actually increases the relationship you have +3. So it's a very slight boost, but it is a boost, and it is there. It is noticeable in their attitude towards you. So it is worth it, in my opinion, to do it. God, I've navigated the Civ 6 UI so much. I can basically do it so quickly. It's insane. Okay. Next up, we need to start thinking about our next civics. I think I would like mercantilism. This will give my camps +1 production and +1 food. That's pretty useful. Civil engineering feels like the next big milestone for me. Getting the ability to build farms in grassland hills and plains hills, also +1 governor title, is really useful. Then potentially it'll be colonialism for the +1 production on fishing boats. That would be really useful. Now this is a flatland jungle tile. So unfortunately, flatland jungle tiles, I think I might be better off making... Oh God. Am I better off? I think I'm better off making lumber mills in this city, because this city will struggle with production if I don't make lumber mills. So rather than chopping all these tiles, I think, yeah, it sucks, but lumber mills are the right call, I think, which is all the more a harder argument for going for mercantilism first, for the ability to build lumber mills on rainforests. Oh right, I forgot to do my alliances. I'll do a research alliance with Gilgamesh, that's fine. An economic alliance with you, renew that deal. A cultural alliance with Lautaro, that's perfect. Let's do a religious alliance with you. And then if you're willing to take my friendship this turn, or my embassy, maybe we could get you up there. Let's sell off all of our excess luxuries. Let's sell off all of our iron. No buyers for iron. Really need to get my niter online. Okay, 2 trebuchets are finished, which should boost siege tactics. I'm going to spend the gold to improve 2 crossbows. That'll boost metal casting, so I have 2 more tech I can research while boosted. The Enlightenment Civic is here, so I probably won't research that before. I don't know if I'll get 2 workshops, so I think industrialization is another tech. And if I'm gonna go industrialization, the +1 production from mines is so important that I'm just gonna beeline it now and then backfill for these. Now I could kill a unit with a knight. I believe I have a city-state quest to make a knight, and if I were to make a knight by upgrading, and then send him over to one of these barb camps, I could probably get a kill, which would be the boost for ballistics, and that's worth a bit of science. It's like worth 400 science, so I think that might be worth it. Why don't you build a really cheap replacement unit like the skirmisher, and then I'll upgrade this knight. Okay, am I going to be building a military to kill Samarkand? Well, I need niter first. In order to do that, I need to get builders out of Copan. Would it be worth it to build builders in my capital? No, I think I'll work on things like spies. I'll go for a spy first, and then I'll think about building a military. Do I want to manually control? Yeah, I'll manually control the caravels for now. I think that's fine. Eventually, I'll put them on auto-explore, but I think manually controlling them gives you a better idea of what the world is actually doing and what's happening in the world, you know? Let's give this mine to Calakmul, because the city just struggles for production. Another beautiful plantation helping El Mirador grow. Probably want to move Magnus down to Zunatunik. Wonky city name. Imo. We could do a little bit of a weird play here. So there's a couple of choices we could do. We could put our observatory here and then a ring of farms around it. This would get me +2 on the observatory. Or, okay, we could put the observatory here and then place a diamond of farms. This would give me the food that I would need for this city to grow and work all of these desert hills. And I kind of like that as a play, just because it's a little bit weird and wonderful. And it also gives me an excuse to move Magnus over to this city and get 3 chops out of it. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to move Magnus to Zunatunic, and we'll have to get a builder over there to try and make a difference too. I love when you get caravels, like the world just becomes so much easier to explore. Oh, wait, there is a chop in that city, actually. There is a chop in El Mirador, and it's on this jungle tile where we plan to put our observatory. So that's fine. Getting shot at by some barbs is fine. Oh man, there's so much potential exploration over here. Let's make the night. Boom. That'll get us the envoy with Hong Kong. We got the monument in Zunatunic. We'll chop here to finish the monument. Then I'll place the observatory. That's a +4 observatory, but I'll go for the harbour first. I'll move you and Magnus down to Zunatunic. Put a nice little farm there. That's a 4 food, 3 production, 1 gold tile. Really fantastic yields this game. Loving how the empires are panning out. Tempted to put this trader into Quirigah because this city's going to struggle for production, and so I need that internal trade. The external trade is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but that internal trade can really propel some of these really crappy cities forward. Hagia Sophia has been built. There's Potato Palace. Astronomy is advanced. There's colonialism. I'd like production, so I'll trade with Koba. 4 food, 3 production. That's a really nice boost. It's going to get that harbour quite a bit sooner. I'd love a trade route over for Zunatunic as well. Let's plonk down farms. Farms for the Civ are quite powerful. Make sure that we're exploring efficiently as well. We're definitely revealing the map at a rapid rate. I've got 4 envoys in the chamber. I may as well take suzerainty of Mitla with 2. That'll also give me some exploration information and mostly just kind of bring them under my belt. And that 15% growth. Hey, nice to meet you, Ramses. A pleasure. His science is a little bit crippled right now. So I'm wondering who top tech is, if it's not me. I mean, I'm second in tech, and my tech is 150, and I'm pretty competitive on culture, with the exception of a culture civ like Basel. I want a Beatty. I think the trading dome provides benefits for the city. If I recall correctly, the trading dome gives +2 gold and +1 gold for every adjacent luxury, and your outgoing international traders get +1 gold per trading dome at the original. It just makes potential trade here a little bit better. I don't even know if I want to kill Samarkand anymore. The fact that it's providing me with a huge amount of gold per turn on my coastal cities is making it worth keeping around. Caguana just isn't even that good. I suppose I could get a really high value observatory here. So I think if I'm going to kill the city-state, it's going to be Caguana, because it's the least important of the two. But I have to be careful about how many amenities I'm going to burn. We found Chinguetti, which is always a nice city-state because it gives you faith based on your trade routes. We could take suzerainty of them just for fun, which we will, because it's also worth era score. And an undiscovered piece of land. It is Arctica, so I don't know how much value there really is in settling this. I mean, more land is almost always better, but I think we're doing well enough for now. The thing is, someone is eventually going to settle it. Let's get our friendships and our resident embassies. Friendship with you as well. Okay, I'm friends with everyone on the map. This is exactly the kind of game that I like to have, where it's just like a peaceful, economic game. Things are developing nicely. Let's filter the spy list by commercial hub. This is an ability that you get if you have the mod called Better Espionage Screen. It allows you to filter potential steals. So nobody has commercial hubs, which means the next best steal is tech. Nobody has tech to steal, which means the next best thing is nothing. Or at the very least, I can't spy on my allies. This is the only thing about a game like this, is like spies are not as valuable as they usually are. So this is the moment of truth. Are we going to go ahead and declare war? I think if we are, we need to grab like a couple builders in the capital to help get this niter online, because we've been waiting a very, very long time for this niter. And we need quite a bit of it. Build man-at-arms. I think man-at-arms could now look at these cities. They've become 73. Caguana has fallen behind though. Yeah, I need the niter. So let's just crack out some builders. They're going to be 1 charge less efficient, but I get them sooner, so that makes them more efficient in game time. Got a library coming in Calakmul. Again, want that science, want those great people points. Let's have a look. Where are we on the competitive sphere? We're half the points of the top guy, with some great scientist points in the chamber being repaired and built. So I'm feeling pretty okay on that front. And we've just started opening up and exploring the world, which is fantastic. We're about to circumnavigate. We're about to get all of the mid to late game stuff starting to churn. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.